did that stop us?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back, Stars Podcast. This is Ron Jordan
Aaron Diaz, good to see you or hear everybody or whatever we got going
in
on.
studio today again. So some current events happened this week, huh? Yikes!
Yeah,
I want to talk about it because I got a heavy heart, and I'm feeling heavy about it. If I'm being totally 100% honest with you, like what we were talking about upstairs, I've kind of been spinning my gears on the whole entire situation, and there's times where let me shut this off. There's times where I feel like almost helpless because I struggle in my mindset being like, I want to help, I want to figure this out, I want to help everybody, but the same shit keeps happening over and over and over and over again. Same stuff. And I don't understand why that is.
Do you think that it's happening, or that it's just because I think that this happens continuously, and the fact that it's really widespread and that we're into such a sensitive space right now, I think it's super elevated. Not to discount anything, but for one, I agree with you. You know, I'm really taking this, not with a grain of salt. I'm with you there,
Right.
But do you think that it's over accentualized right now?
No. I think, how can you overdo the publicity of something like racism?
Yeah.
How can you over publicize that? I get what you're saying. Is it because it's everywhere, so everybody's upset about it?
Right.
But that's my point exactly. Is everybody's upset about it, but nothing will change.
Yeah. So where's the line in the sand?
But here's my other part of my brain is saying, well, maybe that's just who we are as human beings, and maybe everybody's so upset because the majority of people would never act like that. So we're seeing the minority of people,
right,
and not minority being the minority, but just the minority mindset of just racism in general.
Yes, and I think that,
does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I think that this is something that's been going on for a while. This is not the first shooting. This is not the, there are victims out there. There's victims that aren't getting the play of an actual shooting, that are getting incarcerated because of the color of their skin, or they're getting treated differently because of their color of their skin. And racism is always been there, and I think it's going to continue to be there until we start to educate ourselves on how we do make a change, or see people as people, as opposed to
this is how I was explaining race to my daughter the other day. Was we're all human beings, but based on the place that we grew up on Earth, our skin changed. We all started out the exact same color. But throughout the evolution of a human being, which is crazy to me too. So the evolution of a human being, if you grew up in an area where there was no sun, your skin was light.
Right.
If you grew up in an area where the sun was abundant, your skin became darker. And through the years of evolution, you just became this race. So it really became about where you came from, more so than the color of your skin.
Yes. So where was the disconnect?
What happened that caused, where was the round table where they were like, okay, everybody from, the places where the sun is not in abundance, you guys are better than the place where the sun is in abundance. How does that even happen? How do you make that line in the sand as a human being?
It all has to do with the power and control. So to the victor goes the spoils, right? So if you're the stronger, you're the faster, or you're able to articulate certain things or manipulate certain things to your benefit, you're going to reap those benefits.
that's where like I'm trying to. I need to read more about this because like I don't understand. What's that?
Doesn't look like you're on.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm down here. That's what I'm trying to understand is like when was that first power struggle? You know, and this was something that goes back to my post too, was like the power struggle almost seems money related, economy related, because no matter what, no matter where you look at, it's an economic problem. Meaning, like, there's no reason to like to have slaves. There's no reason to have slaves if there's not an economy based on money. Yeah. And there's not an economy that you can like expose the benefits of having a slave. I don't know. I just struggle to understand where somebody could be like, hey, you're black, so you're probably a piece of shit. Or you're white, you're probably a piece of shit. Like, whatever, Asian, Native American, like we don't we don't seem to see any struggle in hating one another. It doesn't matter who you are. And for me, like, it just angers me so much because I don't share that mindset. And when I see it, I just, and especially from somebody that is the color of my skin, doing that to somebody that I would like, I don't get it. And it makes me angry and it makes me sad and I don't know what to do about it.
You don't know what to do with your emotions?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because people of color have felt that emotions for years, man. Even when I was growing up, so I grew up in Spanish Harlem, and the only white people in my neighborhood were the police. So they were like the people that were over me. You know, they were the people of control, and they were able to use that control however they wanted to. I mean, I remember getting smacked around by the police, getting smacked off the bench, getting thrown on a car, because they felt that they had the power to do so. They didn't, and I think it comes down now, granted, fast forwarding to, you know, I've been in law enforcement for years, been working for the Department of Corrections for years, and years, I'm saying 18 plus, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I felt that resentment. I felt that like, well, why? Why is this okay to happen? And I think what has come up in my mind, and it's forever growing, I think when you look at somebody as not a human, or as property, or as an inmate number, or as a convict, or a drug dealer, when you put on a title of someone as opposed to Ron or Aaron, now it's kind of like naming your animal that you're gonna slaughter. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you don't name, like, I don't know too many farmers, but I know farmers, that's a thing that they don't name pigs. They don't name, because that would make a relationship with them.
It brings humanity to it.
Right. So now when you don't have that, and you don't have that humane particulate in your mind, it's easy to belittle people, spit on them, punch them in the face, bully them, to impose your will on them.
And I guess that's the part where I struggle, where that culture, that culture inside of I'm just going to say a police force for that matter, or even inside of one person's head, like, how does that form? How does, like, what happened in that person, in that man's life that felt it necessary to do a face down restraint with a knee on the neck? Like, at what led up to him thinking that was okay? Like, in his brain, where he thought after somebody was cuffed that he didn't have enough confidence in himself and in his self-defense techniques to just let the man sit on the curb cuffed.
Well, I think that's it. For one, I think he was 18 years. He was a police officer for a long time. So I'm sure he's been hardened. I'm sure he came up from a different cloth, during that time frame, because a lot of things have changed during that. Like now it's more, community policing, being able to articulate things, because police officers, as a whole, you have weapons around your body, on your belt, right, to make people comply to what you want them to comply with, right, to do what you want them to do. That, I believe, is a crutch, because when I went from law enforcement to correction officer, now I have no weapons. So the only weapon that I had was how to articulate words through my mouth to make them do what I want them to do. Like, I was actually over, let's say 10, 15 inmates at a time that I was paying them 19 cents an hour, and they were working for me. How does that happen? It wasn't because I was beating them down. It wasn't because I was pepper spraying them or throwing them in handcuffs. That's not why. I was able to, hey, look, this is what we got to do. We got a task to do. Do you want to continue? I had to be able to find those things. And
exactly.
And I believe some law enforcement officers just believe that, I'm going to impose my will however it is. Just because you put that uniform on your chest doesn't make you a freaking superhero.
But what it does make you is a pseudo leader. Like it like, no matter what, people look at you for guidance. Right. And whether right, wrong, or indifferent, that's the reality. So, like, that brings up actually a really great point that I'm just kind of spinning my wheels here. Is like, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, is which leadership style is better? Now, is a leadership style where you bring humanity into it and you get to know your staff and you get to know these people. Like, policing used to be you lived in the community that you policed. So you knew everybody. If you went down the block and you had a domestic disturbance because Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Johnson were at it again, every Tuesday night is bingo night and they drink a little too much.
Right.
Like, you're part of the community.
But it goes back to that point. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, not the angry couple. Right.
Humanity.
Yes.
And it's almost like we're allowing that to disintegrate. We're allowing, and I think I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here. And I think even more so, like, whenever you're not having conversations like you and I are having, but you have them over the computer or over text message, like, we're losing the humanity there too. So no matter which way you turn, like, we're losing it.
Yeah.
We're losing the contact with one another.
Right.
And the more, and like, right now, especially, like, being quarantined and stuff, people were not seeing each other.
Right.
And I'm not saying, like, this is going to, spur racism and all that stuff, like being away from each other, but it is removing a little bit of humanity from one another, and it almost makes you numb. And that guy being 18 years in the force, it's like, man,
I don't know the exact number.
No, but I couldn't even
been there a while.
5 years. Yeah. I couldn't imagine what you would see in 5 years.
Right.
Being in law enforcement, and I don't envy the position whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we also have to take a look at this and say, hey guys, like, the approach that we're taking is it's good for most, but not good for all. And is that good enough?
So I think it goes back, like, I would like to see the people in his circle. And we talked about a lot of the people in the circle.
Yeah.
Like, for one, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I don't want to be the toughest guy in the room. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to have other people around me that are going to be giving me different views. And I wonder if that guy ever had that. Did he have the like-minded people that be like, you know what? These fucking people are animals. Like, this is a crackhead, and this is what you do with crackheads. This dude, I mean, he was if I remember right, he was like passing bad checks or whatever. What brought them to the situation, period. So now he's probably rolling his eyes and be like, I got to go to this stupid ass call, dealing with this freaking, with these type of people. Like, I don't talk like that. You don't talk like that. So did his circle talk like that?
Yeah.
Did the people he was surrounding himself be like, those fucking animals?
Or does he work out? Is he getting rid of stress some other way?
Right.
Just different ways to live your life. And the way that we talk all the time is like, yeah, surround yourself with people that you want to be like. Surround yourself with people that are healthy in all types of different ways, mentally, physically,
right.
spiritually.
Yeah.
You know, these prongs of your life that allow you to live peacefully will allow you to give humanity a chance. And listen, in law enforcement, you work dog hours.
Yeah.
Dog hours.
Yeah.
You probably have no time, to
shift work, no pay, time away from your family.
Plus, you got family and you have responsibilities. And I totally get it.
People hate you initially too.
But in you're in law enforcement. I have to assume for good reasons. You like to help people.
Yes.
That's why you're in it.
Yes.
You're not in it because you like to beat people up.
Right.
It's impossible that's why you get into law enforcement. You don't make it past all of the rigor of law enforcement with a why being, I want to beat people up.
Yeah.
Like that. That's impossible.
Yeah. Well, I
mean, maybe not impossible, but like that's hard for me to fathom.
I think when you first initially go into into policing, if you never dealt with it before, let's say you've always wanted to be a cop, which is a good thing, but you go through the academy, they do give you a lot of tools. They give you, hey, this is how you should talk with people. Hey, they have sensitivity training. They have these things in place now, probably not so much, 15, 20 years ago, but now they are. They're trying to be diverse. They're trying to be different. But then when you go to your actual duty station, your police precinct, they're like, no, you have to take on that personality of that precinct. You have to take on
the subculture that I'm talking about.
Yes, you have to take on that. And then you're going to be in those groups to be like, oh, no, we're the knuckle draggers. We're the people that they call on when they want shit done. If you want the guy to be touchy-feely, you want the guy to go ahead and just deal with domestics, you don't call us, you call that other group over there.
Interesting.
So they'll tell you, hey, forget everything that you learned in the academy. I remember hearing that. And I was like, do you guys just say this to say this? Like, this is not cool. Like, I've been through 4 different academies, federal law enforcement, police academy, sheriff's academy, Department of Corrections academy. Like, I was in the military. Like, so they're told, hey, forget about everything you learned. This is what it is now. So you have to be able to be confident in yourself. If you're going to take on it, if anybody out there is going to be taking on a law enforcement career, know what you're getting yourself into, because these are the people that you're going to be around. And you just have to realize, do I want to hang with this guy? Do I want to hang with Iran, or do I want to hang around with Mark? Mm-hmm. Mark's a freaking knuckle dragger. He thinks everybody pieces of shit. Or do I want to hang with Ron? He's like, hey, look, I grew up in this community. I want to see some good things happen to good people. I want to be able to help people out. Do you want to be that person?
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess maybe that's where, like, having the self-confidence to go into a precinct like that and be like, well, that's not right.
Right.
And I was talking to my wife the other night too, where it's like, it's almost like when you're young, things are wrong, but you don't know what to do about it. And then as you get older, you've seen this happen for years and years and years and years. And then, like, all of a sudden you're like, well, you could do this, that, and the other, but that's really difficult. And I'm just like, I'm just tired now. Mm-hmm. As you get older, you see so much and you realize the uphill battle that it is. And at that point, it's almost like, oh, it's just too late. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody has the right answer. And I know that it's kind of cool. And, I love you as a person and everything that you stand for, a lot of great things, because we're on the same wavelength. Like, we want to help people. We don't want to create any more victims. We don't want, we want good things for good people, because this is what we're supposed to do on this earth.
That's what people deserve.
But if you don't have the confidence to depict, like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do, that's what I'm gonna stand for. I mean, if you don't have it, it's gonna be really hard. The personality might not be there.
And the other person who has the opposing view might have a stronger position,
personality,
stronger personality. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then you got to sit there and you got to stand up to that person or that person and their crew.
Yep.
And you got to work there. You know, I couldn't. Again, I do not envy that position, but I think maybe from my point of view and like where I said at the very beginning where I was struggling was like, what do I do?
What do you do? Right.
So here's what I do then is I just continue to do this.
Yeah.
I continue to spread a message that I'm confident about. Yeah. People call me touchy-feely. They call me all types of names. Mm-hmm. Like, how can you be a man and talk about this? Or how can you, you know, punch a bag, but then also talk about peace and love? Like, it's easy.
Right.
Because that's what I believe in.
Yeah.
I truly do. And I think with all of that, I have become very confident in what I believe in and what I stand for. And people know what to say around me and not to say around me, just like you were talking about.
Right.
Like and I think that's a healthy relationship protocol, really.
Yeah.
Is to create these boundaries and uphold those boundaries, because as soon as you allow somebody to do something to you that's against what you believe in, you've accepted that behavior.
Yeah.
And now it's going to continue to happen.
And it could get worse.
Typically it will.
And then you'll no longer have like relationship with that person. I mean, this could go with a husband and wife, you know, just because I'm the man in the relationship doesn't make me an overseer of the entire relationship. Like my wife has a say, you know, like my wife is my partner.
Yeah.
You know, so back to, you know, what can you do? Now, I know me, when I wanted to go into law enforcement, I saw it as, you know what? I don't want to, why do I want to be the people that hate me? You know?
Yeah.
And that was my thing. Like law enforcement, bro, you're not law enforcement. You're not the cop person. Like you're not that dude, but they need people like me. They need people that have seen certain things. And that was a struggle in Northwest Pennsylvania. So coming in at a police academy, I had to go and apply to different positions. They're like, oh, they didn't see me as me because my resume was flawless, not to pat myself on the back.
Sure.
But I had a lot of great experiences that I can do something different for your police department. They didn't want to see that. They wanted people cut from the same cloth that they were. And I've actually told that in interviews, if you want someone different, you'll choose me. If you don't, then pass me on by. Mm-hmm. And I was going to these departments where they were $12.50 an hour. Like you could barely survive on that. There's people with sheets making more money than I was as a cop.
I talked to a kid yesterday. She's making $13 an hour at Walmart. First job.
Crazy. So like, but you know what? I need to make a change like this. Like us doing a podcast, us doing Valor Personal Defense Systems. You know, we want to create this. There's no more victims. Now, I didn't know this growing up. I didn't know this is the person that I was going to be. But because I was a bully, I was the person that was pushing people around. Like I didn't care a lot about humanity. Mm-hmm. Like it just wasn't a thing. As I got older, I was able to. So in the positions that I'm in right now, I need to be better. I need to do better. Mm-hmm. You know, I need to build the company bigger so I'm able to so they can see, hey, look at this person of color is successful and he wants the best for everybody. I don't care, gay, lesbian, Jewish, Buddhist, it doesn't, atheist. I want you to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to create a victim that way and be the victim mentality. I want to be promoted. I want people to see like he could do it. You know, like that person came from us. You know, so if that's the route that you want to take, maybe there's like you saying, doing this podcast, having this conversation.
Yeah.
You know, this is how you make change, man.
I think so too.
This is how you do it.
That's why I brought it up, because like even upstairs, I'm just like, so I keep saying upstairs, we're in my basement studio. So like, But like we talked to my wife before we come down just to kind of get the juices going, and we were talking up there, and I'm just like, I'm just quiet right now because after I put out that post the other night, I've been stewing because I knew that we were gonna talk today. I knew these were topics that I wanted to talk about, and it's what can I do? I think exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah,
exactly what I've been doing. Living the life that I would want other people to live. And I think too, so you bring up a point that I hear a lot, is, as a person of color, you feel almost a responsibility to do better.
Yeah.
And to kind of, to be the teammate who's the captain of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And while I think it's an awesome endeavor, it still strikes me as like a team mentality.
Mm-hmm. To the POC team, the people of color team.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
because that's the only team I can play on. You know what I mean?
But here's, I got you.
Yeah.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and I do not fault you for it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's admirable. The only thing that I'm just trying to like take it a step further is in my eyes, it's just like we're all one team human.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So, but I totally get where you're coming from because, like, I can't remember who it was, but it's just like the more people that you see like you're more apt to go for that, And if it's like they've done studies with doctor preferences, they've done studies with like psychiatry, all types of things, like who you would typically pick, and you pick people that look like you. You feel safer that way.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that's how our mind works. That's weird.
Well, it kind of depends what I'm doing. If I'm playing hockey, I'm not getting people that look like me.
That's there you go again. all those positive stereotypes. You probably can't swim either, huh? Jackass. But no, honestly, like, I think what you do is great. You do it for not only people of color, but for veterans the same. Mm-hmm. You're out there doing the good work on that aspect, and I applaud you for that, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things too that I've talked about before. I think it was actually when Sean Thomas was on, was like from birth we're taught to think in teams, no matter what. It could be as simple as when you grow up, the first onesie you put on, if you're from around here, is a Pittsburgh Steelers onesie.
Right.
We wrap kids in terrible towels.
Yeah.
Like, that's your team.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a person of color, that's your team. When you're a white guy, that's your team.
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost like, and I said this the other night too. Actually, it was last night. Somebody was asking me about Monarch.
Okay.
And they're like, man, you got to be super happy now that Monarch is part of Valor. And I'm like, honestly, I am, because I felt like I was cheating on Valor when I went to Monarch, and I felt like I was cheating on Monarch when I went to Valor.
Uh-huh.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Because it's your team.
But it's a community, bro.
Listen,
Yeah.
I get it. But I could, even me,
Yeah.
somebody who is a deep thinker, team human the whole way, like, I still struggled with that.
Yeah.
Because that was my team. That was my family.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was cheating on my family with this family.
Yeah.
And now we're under the same umbrella. And as weird as it is, now I'm totally fine going to either one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the way our brains think. We think in teams.
Yeah.
Our circle is our team. And whoever our circle is, that's who we ride or die for.
I mean, that happens with our academies too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got Team Meadville, got Team Hermitage, Team Grove City.
Yeah.
And I think it's because when you go through an adversity with people, and you grow with people, they do become your family. But one thing I do like that we bring everybody all together to test with each other.
Yeah.
And then that makes our community a whole lot bigger.
Yeah, but it takes a couple of testings to get warm and fuzzy with one another.
It does.
And it's fun. It's fun to see, just from like a social experiment standpoint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you and I, we like to see how people behave in certain situations. And it's like, we're all kind of rats in this whatever social experiment we're living from 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's neat to see, but it's also devastating to see on a macro level, because what happened this past week, in this past month rather, like, yeah, it's the minority of what happens on a daily basis, of course.
Yeah.
There's plenty of amazing work being done out there by law enforcement. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not naive enough to think that it's all terrible.
Right.
But it's a mentality that's still out there.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's still out there. The guy who was, and I don't know the whole story between, the guy who is jogging and then got shot in I think it was Alabama or Georgia.
Atlanta.
He
was in Georgia, yeah.
So I don't know the whole story there, but clearly there's a mindset there. Like, the fact that you can just brandish a weapon and then go shoot somebody and then go back home and watch TV for 2 months.
Yeah.
That's a little crazy to me.
It is, and not feel anything.
Not feel like you had to turn yourself in.
Well, you know why? The circle, bro.
I know. It's enabling.
Yes.
You're enabling.
They're like, man, you got him.
I know.
You really freaking took care. You took care of that. Like, you make our community safe. Like, this is what gets in people's, like, they thought they were doing a freaking good thing, man. Are you kidding me? That's kidding me. Like, but that's the mentality. That's the group that they were with. Like, yeah, you got them.
That groupthink is wicked. So
you are the company you keep, man. There's so much to that. There's so much to that. So start to branch out. Hear other people's opinions. Start to acknowledge people's opinions. Respect that. And then hopefully they'll respect yours. That's going to push away a lot of people. A lot, because they can't have that. It's either one way. It's either my way or the highway type deal. But like, nah, I'm not that guy, man.
And you see, but here's the other thing too. You see what happens to people who stand up to these bigger bullies. Mm-hmm. They get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, people like me that stand up for what they believe in, people like you that stand up for what you believe in, you get hurt.
Yep.
Whether it's words,
right,
or physical, whatever, people are going to hate on you.
Yeah.
And it's like, you try and come at it with respect and courtesy and humanity, and it's not met with the same.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's
why?
Really, I don't get it. And
why are people so angry?
There is, and I don't know if that's just the culture that we're in right now, but I know that there's, like we talked about, there's family members that I have that I can't tell you my opinion, because I'm telling you, it's dead set against yours. I can't tell you anything that I'm feeling, because you're going to look at me differently, or you're going to make me feel differently, like I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm not.
Do you think that it comes more from not being able to communicate your emotions effectively? Like, you've tried to do it before, and you've been met with anger and whatever, and that's just the way you've learned. It has to be just the way you've learned how to communicate. It has to be. So we have to teach people how to communicate better.
Oh, that's it. I
mean, the art of communication
is the key.
And I think it's having these arguments.
And I think like the whole texting thing, like, I can send a text to you laughing. You could think I'm blatantly angry. Like, who is he to talk to me like that?
I think we've actually had conversations like that.
Like, bro, that's nowhere near. And I'm like, bro, that's not even what I meant. It's hard on words.
It is.
And so we're sitting there taking this magical box that can lift freaking people into space, and we're putting so much vested interest in this as opposed to having communication with people.
Right.
Yep.
I think the more we read online versus the more we read in a newspaper at a cafe and talk to each other about it, is like, it's, and I'm painting a weird picture there, but I think you get what I'm saying is, like, if people who were on a train reading the paper going into the city, mm-hmm. you think they weren't reading that newspaper, true journalism, and talking to one another about it?
Yeah. Well,
or was it just as angry?
Probably not,
because
this
the
day
same
and
shit's
age.
Been going on since forever.
Yeah, probably not this day and age. I think because, for one, we don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's not. And I think you might take on the personality or align yourself with the people that are writing the article. And then you're going to be dead set against the person that didn't read that article. He read another article.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like this is what I think. I think through communication and education, we need to be able to come up with our own opinions. You know, like me and a couple of my buddies at work, we had a talk. You know, could the '96 Bulls beat the Lakers with Kobe?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I was all about it. I said, "There's nobody that can freaking." I think the Lakers would destroy them because there's nobody that can cover Shaq on that team. You know, but that was because for what I saw, that was my opinion. That's what statistically, that's what I came up with.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, no, let's back it up with my stuff. But so if I didn't have or didn't see these two teams play, I would have no idea. If I just read their statistics, I could come up with a different opinion. So for one, we have to be able to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Right. For two, you have to get your opinion and be confident in that, whether it's right or wrong.
No, I like that analogy though of sports, because I think a lot of people can relate to arguments that they've had is who's the better player.
Yeah.
You know, who's the better player, who's the best,
but
who's
they
the
could
GOAT.
do that without fighting too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Is you could, like, there's no possible. No, let me back up. There's probably a possible way, but you're likely you're still gonna be boys.
Yeah.
Even though you like the Lakers versus the Bulls, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're still gonna be boys. Like, you'll be balling and they'll be like, dude, you're not Kobe. Like, relax.
Hey, Sean's gonna blow us up after this because he's a big Bulls fan.
I know he is. But that's a really great analogy or example of how we can communicate effectively. Disagree to the nth degree, like who's the better rookie. You know what I mean? Like, we talk about
MMA or boxing.
You want to talk about dudes getting heated? That's a great way to get dudes heated, but still sit there and have a beer while they're doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't think the same type of attitude is people aren't approaching politics and race and all of these hot button topics with that same type of funness.
Yeah.
There's no fun.
Yeah.
It's like
how much skin in the game do you really have?
No more than you do with the basketball example.
Exactly. Yeah. Then why is it such a Hey.
Like, why are we so angry?
So talk politics like you talk sports,
dude. I think that's the way to do it. Because you can still be friends with those people.
Right.
But for whatever reason, on a political side, we can't be friends with somebody like that. We can't be friends with somebody who's on the other side of the table.
A line in the sand.
And that's why I love martial arts.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't care.
No.
I said this the other day on my Insta story. Like, it doesn't freaking care who you are.
Right.
It doesn't care how many zeros are at the end of your bank account. It doesn't care where you work. It doesn't care where you grew up.
Yep.
None of it.
Right.
You can't bullshit your way through martial arts. Nope. You can't bullshit your way from not getting punched in the face.
Right.
You're either good or you're not good.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah. There's
not much to think about.
No.
All that you have to worry about is the task at hand.
Right.
You know?
Can I get this arm bar? Can I defend this arm bar?
Yeah.
Can I get this roundhouse? Can I defend the roundhouse?
And it certainly doesn't care if you're black, I'm white, whatever.
Sure don't.
Doesn't matter.
Unless I got an extra bone in my body, that's just
I guess if that's something that matters.
Oh, there was a whole big talk about fast muscle fiber.
Oh yeah,
switches.
I've heard this before.
Yes.
Like fast. That's why black guys can jump higher than white guys or some stupid shit like that.
Like I don't get it.
I don't buy it.
Actually, me and a guy were gonna fight over that one time. That was crazy.
Show me the anatomy and physiology of 100 black guys and 100 white guys, and I want to know the percentage of how many have extra shit in them.
Yeah.
Who knows? Approach life like you're arguing who's the better basketball player, baseball player, NASCAR driver, tennis player.
NASCAR.
I don't care.
NASCAR's back.
NASCAR is back.
Good for them.
I listened to the lead chief marketing officer from NASCAR, and she was on Gary Vee the podcast, Marketing for Now. Alex Rodriguez was on there. Also, the chief marketing officer for Budweiser was on there, and then she was on there. But yeah, she was talking about, because Gary goes, like, what were those conversations like? Because you're the first to come back, other than the UFC. Like, you're the first ones to come back. What was? She goes, we had 68 schedules, 68 different schedules, because every state is different.
Yeah,
and how they're approaching, the quarantine and bringing people back and whatever. And she goes, yeah, we had 68 schedules, and then we settled on a schedule, and the very next day we had to rip it up and try again.
Yeah, but they came to the table, they talked about it. They said, because people got to work, man. Yeah. I mean, NASCAR has to keep moving. The amount of employees that go into that, the pit crew, the people that clean the stadiums, the people, you got to get people out there working again, man.
That was something that I talked about whenever the NFL was talking about locking out or something like that a couple years back. And I was like, they're not going to lock out. There is way too much money involved, way too many companies involved that are going to put pressure on those guys to play football.
Yeah. It's just, they did it in baseball. Remember they had the baseball strike for a while?
They did the NHL. They did that too. NBA that wasn't long ago.
Yeah. NBA did it. I mean, it was there's a lot more at stake with this. I think we need to get this economy moving, and I think there's and for one, like I talked to my sister-in-law, just the mental health of the population. Like I said, to go back to this killing, it couldn't come at a worse time, bro.
Couldn't.
So
yeah, it's about as bad as you can.
So she's a teacher, and she has I'm gonna mess up the number, but let's just say four of her students went to mental health institutions because of this, man. Like there's domestic violence is up. The sexual abuses are up.
Yeah, you're forced to live with the person that's abusing you.
With the person that's abusing you. Do you know how, because I'm in the Department of Corrections and I've brought this up before, how sex offenders are usually caught is by them telling someone else. Their friends, their guidance counselors, their teachers.
Now they're isolated.
Now they're keeping them in the freaking house. And it's so much bigger than what's going on. I think we're delaying the inevitable and hurting people in the process. I just want to get out there. People do it safely. Think about what you're doing. If you're sick, stay home. Just you got to get moving, man. You got to get moving.
No, I listen, I'm on board with that. I think so too. I think there's a safe way to do it. I've had some heated arguments about, how dangerous is it out there? The mask situation is like, I'm like, dude, I think the mask is ridiculous. And then like the other part of me says, okay, well, if the business that I'm going into wants me to wear a mask, how dare I not wear a mask?
Yeah. Oh, that's respect.
Because
as men, we go in like if we're going to get Snicker bars, we're going to get Snicker bars. We're not stopping to every other freaking aisle either.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Look, I just want to go in there. I'm going to wear the mask, get out. That's it. Because that's breaking my day, bro. I got things to do.
Yeah. But what I'm saying though is I was going into places without a mask. Mm-hmm. And it's not fair. It's not fair for me to be around those employees who have to wear a mask, or for them to confront me to put a mask on, because I always had the mask on me.
Yeah.
So I was like, if somebody tells me to put a mask on, I will. But that was wrong. Like, that was wrong for me to do, because I shouldn't frequent a business that wants me to wear a mask and not wear a mask just because I don't agree with it.
But then you got people that are looking at you because, oh, you're wearing a mask, or oh, you're not wearing a mask.
Is it because?
So you got those.
But in my head, this is where I was at. I'm no sheep.
Right. Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to take a stand and say, I'm not wearing one.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe everything you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
But in the same token, I'm like, I talked to my wife about it the other day. 'Cause she's like, you're not wearing a mask. I was like, yeah, because I think it's BS. Mm-hmm. She goes, well, like you're causing a confrontation. You could cause a confrontation with the employees there. It took me a second to like come around to that idea. Uh-huh. I said, you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. And this is,
But
and
you could still have your opinion that it's BS.
oh,
Just because you have your mask on doesn't change your opinion.
But what was more important to me was sending a message to other people than being respectful of that business, because I love supporting business.
Right.
That's my thing. Like, that's my freaking jam. And I totally went against that when I walked into an establishment that was requiring a mask and I didn't wear one. And I was disrespectful to the employees as a result, causing them to have some sort of conflict.
Right.
Like, what would have happened if, like, what happens, let's say, if I go into that establishment, I'm not wearing a mask, and the policy is to wear a mask, but the employee didn't say anything, but they were supposed to say something, and they get fired because of it.
Uh-huh.
That's my fault.
That's a good,
That's my freaking fault.
that's a,
What if they got family? What if they got kids? All because I wanted to send a message,
yeah.
you know?
You're hurting that person's situation.
Now, whether or not that's even something that could happen, I don't know.
Yeah, but just the fact that you even thought about it, but like, well, you know what, I wear my mask. Yeah, I'm totally agreeing on the whole sheep thing, and like, yeah, but I'm doing it for you, like just like you're saying. I'm going in. I don't need 4 or 5 people to look at me crazy. I don't need 4 or 5 people to be like, oh, or not be served when I'm trying to get a Snickers bar. I'm trying to get milk for my kids.
Yeah.
They'd be like, sorry, sir, we can't serve you. So now I've wasted, 20 minutes of my time to freaking go out there and get, I still have to go get milk somewhere. So what am I going to do? One of the points that I'm starting to see too is that people are looking at this for insurance purposes just because it's safe for others, right? The mask. What are people that carry guns? They carry guns for the safety of themselves, for the safety of others.
Yeah, I don't want to link the two things.
And but that's it. But
I get you.
Like that's
and
hey,
that's
look.
Here
that's
was my thing too about the masks in general. I was like, okay, riddle me this. Why am I wearing one now, and I wasn't before?
Mm-hmm.
There's always illness. There's always shit gonna go into my system.
Flu, right?
Always something. So now, who's to say that you shouldn't wear one for the rest of your life?
Yeah, and it looks like that's gonna be the new normal.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Aaron is like,
I agree.
What is the point?
Yeah.
What is the point now and not before? And how about next?
Yeah.
Because if we do it now, it's gonna be forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to be required forever.
So,
in certain businesses, like, you are going to be required to do this.
yeah.
Whether
Airports,
or not there's science behind it to back it up, doesn't matter. Makes you
Right.
feel safe. Just like toilet paper and paper towels. Makes you feel better. Makes you feel like you're doing something, but you ain't doing shit.
Nope. So then that's when we go to, all right, we go to vote. The candidate that's going to stop this whole mask situation, or to leave it up to the people. Don't tell me what I need to do for myself.
Well,
Don't enforce me to do so, like.
what's the point of the CDC then?
Yeah.
What's the point of the WHO, World Health Organization? If they're not there to tell us on a macro level what's good for us, what are they there for?
But the CDC is saying mask is not the thing.
But initially they said it was.
Yeah. But now it's not.
Right.
Just like they said.
But that's what I've been talking with others, and they're like, well, because I share the same thing you do. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, give me the facts, just like we talked about before. Give me the
Yes.
facts
Yeah.
that I can rely on. Let me form my own opinion.
Right.
Let me do what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is America.
Yeah.
But the counter argument is like, well, why are these places here then? If you're just going to do whatever you want to do, why are they there? And I said, well, that's a really great point.
It's money.
That's a really great point.
It's money. Control.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think it's fully that. I do think some of it is that, but I think it's meant just like we enter in a conversation, we come with the best intentions.
Yes.
Just like a police officer when they go into the academy, the best intentions.
Like a panel.
Yeah.
There's a group of people that got together and said, hey, look, this is working, this is not working. But then you have to, if you're going to initiate the facts with this organization to be the end all be all, then continue on with that. If they're saying, look, these masks are not working, and they changed the
I
names.
agree.
Have you noticed this?
I agree with you.
They're no longer masks. They're face coverings.
Yeah.
Like they're getting away.
Well, because I understand why they said that. They're trying to differentiate between a mask, which is PPE, which is required by medical professionals, and a face covering, which is required for you and I.
Right.
So the language is weird.
Yeah.
It's something that they're not interchangeable, because if they were, then the health professionals would have the same standards as you and I do, when that shouldn't be the case.
Right.
Because they're around folks that could be susceptible to whatever.
Yeah.
So I understand why they changed the language between face covering and face mask. I get that.
Yeah.
But again, that's coming from the CDC, who is this governing body that we should be able to rely on.
Right.
As citizens of
But
wherever.
if they're true, see, this is what gets me when it comes back to money and, all right, here's maybe a pharmaceutical company's like, no, let's keep this going because we're winning. You know,
Yeah.
when you get and it's the same thing with politics.
Yeah.
Let's keep this going because we could maybe have a better chance of winning the presidential election.
Yeah.
You know.
So let me riddle you this. I'm with you. I hear you loud and clear. And it's because of companies like Enron that we have those things in our head. These companies that really did cheat the system.
Right.
Whatever the what was the financial guy just recently? Oh my God, Bernie
Madoff.
Right. So like we hear about these schemes all the time. Yeah. And so that gives us a distrust. We hear about all types of inside jobs, like Epstein didn't kill himself, things like that.
Yeah.
So we're constantly bombarded with these
conspiracy theories. Yeah.
So like we just have an inherent distrust.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Where do we end up drawing the line that we say, okay, listen, at some point we got to trust somebody. Mm-hmm. We got to trust somebody.
Well, we're hoping that the
because
people, the powers that be are putting their trust in.
Right. So that brings me to my point is like we vote on these people to go into office. That's really where the power is.
Yep.
If the people really want to make a change, they need somebody to vote for.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and if you can mobilize enough people and to vote for you, then like you should do that for your community.
Right.
Like if you want to be the mayor of your town to make a change, then do it.
You need to go out there and do it.
Because if you
want to be on the school board, like
don't sit back and bitch about lunches.
Right. Yep.
Don't sit back and bitch about not having businesses in your town. Like go do something.
Go be a business.
Yeah.
Go do something different.
That's what I mean. Like I hear a lot. I just see a lot of posts and arguments and this and that, and nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
A bunch of armchair quarterbacks.
Oh, it's easy. I mean, we're enabling them. We're enabling that type of folk. They've been the term armchair quarterback. It's been around for a long time,
forever.
Yeah. But now we got Instagram quarterbacks. We got freaking people that are like, I'm starting to find it on TikTok even, these self-defense gurus. Because they got 9,000 freaking followers. They're the end all be all to how to escape a rear naked choke, or to how to throw a punch. I'm like, man, some of these people, they're gonna get people hurt, but they've duped enough people to sit there and say, yeah, I'm the man. Never done anything ever before.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just feel like
we're creating those armchair quarterbacks is what my point is.
I want first off, I want real journalism to come back.
That's tough.
Where like people are embedded and they do embedded investigative journalism where you spend years on a project.
But that's not sexy. That doesn't sell advertisement.
And that's what irritates me, because that breeds that breeds you to have these like snappy clickbait things.
Well,
but it doesn't aid in giving humanity a chance to form its own opinions, because what you're doing is playing off my emotions rather than my ability to make a decision based on facts.
well, do you think 24/7 news changed that?
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember
Yes.
waiting for the 6 o'clock news to come on and be like, all right, let me see what happened throughout the entire day.
Yeah.
You know, like
newspapers used to be really big. Periodicals used to be really big.
Yeah.
Because there were like journalism was a real thing. It was a real profession.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just like anybody can write whatever they want to.
Yeah. I mean,
Which, back to what happened yesterday and President Trump signing what he signed about the social media.
yeah.
And the fact checking and saying that that's
Right.
unfair
Yeah.
to do.
Right.
So
Well,
now there'll be federal regulation on social media?
it was bound to happen. I mean, see, now you have a federal regulation for social media as opposed to having one person say, because they have their own opinion, to say, I don't like your post. I like this one because I align myself with this post.
But you sign the terms and conditions that say that they're allowed to do that.
That's where it comes down to voting, man.
Exactly.
We got to put out the. I mean, the same people.
I had
that
this
are
argument.
making
I had
laws.
this argument with Alyssa last night.
Same people that are making laws. I mean, somebody had to be regulated. You got Zuckerberg that he's not regulated, right? He can do what he wants. Okay.
They all
he
can.
has the power to sway certain opinions.
Well, that's why I think Rogan went to Spotify exclusively.
I love
because
Rogan
because he was
smart guy, Joe
tired.
Rogan.
He was tired of being censored on YouTube. I really think that's why he really made the decision. Of course, $100 million doesn't hurt, but from just listening to him and understanding his desire to push a message, whatever the message is, from anybody, he wants it to be unfiltered.
Right. Yeah.
And in order to be unfiltered, it needs to be unfiltered. And
Yes.
YouTube was filtering it, and he was tired of it.
well, so
And Spotify said, dude, have at her.
it goes back to, okay, do you want Zuckerberg or his cronies be that? And then do you want the government that we've actually put them in power to make those decisions?
But then on the same
It's tough,
side,
I hear
same
ya.
side of the
I
coin, we're
know
saying we don't trust
exactly-
them.
I know exactly where
You knew where I was going. So, like, at what point do we're just
the
like...
nature of the beast, man.
I know, but these are the things that I don't think... I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah.
I've not heard anybody talk about it in those terms. I think that because it's almost... What were we talking about? Like, you can say that what was... You can disagree with that Minnesota police officer and still love police officers.
Mm-hmm.
You can disagree with whatever that black man was doing before him, but you can love black people.
Right.
Like, you can have two thoughts at the same time.
Yeah.
That don't
Which is
exist.
not sexy anymore.
It's not.
You can't.
Real
You can't.
journalism isn't sexy anymore. Having two thoughts that kind of contradict each other in your own head, but you can't speak out, that's not sexy anymore. Like, you have to toe the line all the freaking time, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely tired of it, because what does it create? It creates hate, because it creates teams and it creates enemies.
Yep. Goes back to that group mentality. It's creating those groups that could be detrimental.
And then here
to
I am trying to create a group that's against that group.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't get around it.
Yeah.
No matter how you try, there's always going to be a team. There's always going to be that group of people. But the only thing that you can, and like, I feel like that's the right way to do it. They feel that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're all just as compassionate or passionate about our viewpoints.
Yeah. So, and this brings up when we're talking about toe the line or swaying back and forth, like the burning down of buildings, the looting of stores, like I'm kind of on the fence, man. Like, these people are freaking angry and they weren't heard before. Now you're mobilizing people to hear these people. Like, maybe that's what they needed.
You know what they
to
should
do
have
that.
done? Put a voting booth right in front of Target.
And then do what?
Have them vote.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? Like, they're all mobilized now.
Yeah.
They're all mobilized to go beat up Target and flip over cop cars.
Yeah.
Well, June 2nd is vote day.
Yep. But
How many of them that were looting are going to be voting?
Going to be doing no, because it's not sexy. They want to be angry.
See where I'm getting at, though? The real change happens in that voting booth.
It does. But when you're angry and you're caught up in the moment, you do that. The only and like I said to my back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that you're using a good opportunity to go and fill your entertainment center in your house. I don't like the fact that, you know, you want to go and get laptops, maybe so you could flip them, you know, on the other hand, or to just make your house pretty.
I don't understand where those two things connect. It almost seems like any time.
It doesn't to me.
Yeah, but it's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. Like when something pops off, all of a sudden a big department store gets looted.
Yeah,
Dollar Generals get looted. It's just like something that happens. It's systematic almost. It almost seems set up
to go to go to the conspiracy. Like there was, I had this conversation just yesterday. Like Minneapolis is a pretty clean place, right? All of a sudden, you're seeing a protest happen, and there's a magical pile of rocks in the middle of this city, in this street. Where did these pile of rocks come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, like what? It was a nice clean street. There's a protest. Hey, a pile of rocks is now sitting in the middle of the street.
Like some dump truck just set on there.
Dump truck said, hey, you know what? Boom. This is what we're going to do. Watch this. Oh, here's a pile of rocks. Perfect size for my hand. Boom.
Yeah.
The conspiracy, man. It goes back to like who's really pulling the strings here.
Yeah.
There was actually
I think about that. I think about those things whenever.
There was a video of a somebody, I don't know how true it is. I saw it. I didn't share it. There's a video of a guy that was supposedly a police officer in a mask breaking windows.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Hunger Games. And
yes.
The matchmakers, how
yes.
they can do stuff.
Right.
It's very I mean, listen, we predict the future pretty good with a lot of sci-fi films. We do. I mean, you go way back.
No, The Simpsons do.
The Simpsons do it, and to a scary degree.
Yeah. Back to that conspiracy. Go on YouTube and freaking look up how The Simpsons.
And you want to hear something real like crazy in my head? I'll let you in on this. So, like, where do those thoughts come from? Of that sci-fi, of all of that stuff we've never seen before.
Aliens.
There's a study. I think I brought this study up before.
We're going down the Stars podcast here. Straight talk about random shit. You know, we just went all over the place.
There's a study, and I'll look it up. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll be able to find it. Rats on the West Coast were taught how to do this maze. It's a regular maze.
Okay.
They do this maze. They do it in an X amount of time. Rats on the East Coast are given the exact same maze after the ones on the West Coast. Ones on the East Coast were able to do it faster. Why is that? So they think that somehow, telekinetically, they're connected.
The rats are.
The rats are connected. So how would that be any different for human beings?
To be
if that's true. Like if I'm learning something, like we're constantly evolving. I think we can all agree with that. We're always evolving. We're always learning new things. We're learning new skills. How are those skills passed on? Like if you think about a horse. Let's just think of a horse, for example.
Mm-hmm.
How does a horse know to stand up and eat and follow its mother around?
It's innate.
It's innate. It's an innate feature.
Yeah.
So like as we progress forward and we learn newer skills and things like that. Like, those things are coming from the past, obviously.
Right.
But can some of it come from the future too? You know?
Ooh. I don't know.
Because how do you get that idea? Like, how did the Simpsons get that idea?
Yeah.
Can it come from the future too?
So you think there's people already in the future?
I don't know.
We're in a matrix.
I don't know. I think it's, honestly, I really do feel like sometimes.
The matrix could be a thing. Like deja vu.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bro.
Like, all of these
we
movies.
could do a whole nother hour of freaking.
Like, all of these movies are, like, they feel like dreams. Like, the dreams that we have. Mm-hmm. You know, they're freaking weird.
Yeah.
Where is that? Where the fuck is that dimension? You know what I'm saying? So, like, it can get real weird. If you really want to, like, if you really try and go down that rabbit hole, and you can go down it pretty quick, it's like, I think that you can predict the future. And what I'm getting back to is, like, the Hunger Games, that idea came from somewhere. So what you're talking about mixes in with that, with those rocks being there.
Yeah.
You know, the game makers put the rocks there. Who knows?
There.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
But you can make an argument for that.
Yeah.
You know? You want to talk about being able to control a population?
Freaking, so the Hunger Games, bro, those killer wasps.
They're here.
They're here.
We got the killer wasps.
It was
I saw the one guy, he's on YouTube. He goes, he's actually from Columbus, Ohio. He wears the safari hat, the leather safari hat.
Okay.
And he goes around and gets stung by stuff.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, he got stung by that wasp. His whole arm blew up to like quadruple the size of the other arm. I saw it. I'm like, holy shit.
He's an idiot.
He is an idiot, but could you imagine if that happened in your neck? You'd die.
Oh, done.
He got it on his arm.
So get your factions right. Pick your groups.
Yeah, what are our parting words today? We went all over the place. All over the place.
Hey, but seriously,
fill your inner circle with some good people.
Good people, exactly. Be around some people that maybe are not thinking like you.
Yeah, not thinking like you, and challenge people. Ask questions.
Open their minds.
Don't
respectfully, of course.
Yeah, shit. I would deal with disrespectfully at the beginning. Like, just challenge people. Like, you can't just accept everything for what it is. You have to dig in. If you see something online and you see a post online and you agree with it, look it up yourself.
Yeah.
And then look up the counterpoint to it, and then look up who wrote that article, and then read some more stuff that they wrote.
Yeah, don't just take the first thing that comes
because
to
what you typically find is writers have a theme, and they like to stick to that theme, and they stay in the same lane. So if you continue to follow the same writer, you're going to have the same train of thought. That's why you have to get different influences. You know, your media diet needs to be healthy just as much as your physical diet needs to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Tara Graff.
Hey.
That shirt.
Sorry, it's a little bit weird in the green screen, but
you guys want some
get the swag.
Yeah.
Hammerfist.com.
And then you got the Valor truck hats.
Yeah, I actually got one of those the other day.
Strong.
Got some shirts.
So, hey,
where can they find you at?
GC_Rican_ValorPDS.com or ValorPDS.com. I'm also on TikTok under the same deal. I got some firearm stuff I'm putting up there, and
nice.
Look for some true self-defense people. There's some really good people out there, so be careful of the instructors that you're gonna align yourself with.
Awesome.
Yep.
You can find me at Ambitious Distractions on Instagram, stars_podcast on Instagram also, Stars Podcast on TikTok. I'm on that boat now, so I'm in. I need you to send me videos actually of you as well, because I like keep posting my stuff.
Okay.
I want some of your firearm stuff on there, because I can't like repost like I can on Instagram.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you just send me some short clip videos.
Well, we're not friends.
Also, website.
You don't follow
the
me.
starspodcast.com.
Yeah.
Boom.
You
Coming
gotta
at
follow me, bro. You gotta follow me on TikTok.
Oh man.
You're
I'll
out
follow
of
you.
control.
All right. Hashtag enjoy the journey.
Take it easy.